Hello there, how are you doing? So in the last video, we just call this, we just import the React Redux to get the provider, and we import these two create, store, and apply middleware and methods, and then from the Redux, and we simply created a store. Now we have to uh, create reducers, actions, and then these actions also work based on the action type. Okay, so I know it's a lot to take, it can be confusing, but we will be doing this step by step. Okay, so there is another section in this course where you will have this Redux introduction. Okay, so that introduction, if you haven't watched, please make sure you watch. Okay, that makes perfect sense. So how action types you create first, and then you create actions, and those actions will be processed by the reducers, and reducers then return the state, and then those states are given to the store. And in our case, we will have multiple store reducers, so multiple reducers will be combined and then given to the store as a single reducer. Okay, so if you haven't watched that video, please make sure you watch, otherwise you will not get it. Okay, so once you watch that, it will be very easy. So the first thing we're going to do is going to create action types. So action types are simply a string. What we're going to do is source, inside source, let's create a file, and let's save this as actionTypes.js. Okay, so inside source we have action types. What we need is also, we need two folders. Okay, one is reducers, one is actions. Okay, reducers folder X. Now in this stage, what you shouldn't do is panic. Okay, so Redux, like I told you, setup is quite a lot and gets really confusing. So I told you this another section I have in this course, just go through that Redux and it will make perfect sense. Okay, so the first thing we're going to create action types, and it's all explained this in that section. Okay, so action type, the first action type we need is get nodes, right? We want to get the nodes. Okay, so let's do that. What we do is, all we do is create the string and export, simple as that. Const, and by convention it's all capital, get nodes equals to get nodes. Okay, export constant get nodes, which is string get nodes, simple as that. Save this one. Okay, we created our first action type. We have the action type called get nodes. Awesome. Now what this action type will do, it has nothing here, nothing. Yeah, we're just passing this string to the action creator. We will have action creators. Awesome. Let's do it. So what do we call this action? This one is about nodes, so I think we should call it nodes action, right? Awesome. Let's do that. Nodes action.js. Awesome. Now first thing, we're going to import this one. All right, import. Now this action type will have many constants, so it's not export default. Okay, that's why you need to just get it individually. Okay, import get nodes from action types. It's one step above. Okay, action types. Great. We got the get nodes, which is simply a string. It's nothing. So what do we do? What we do is we create a function and we're going to export it. Okay, so export function. What do we name it? Let's name it get nodes. Okay, so far what happened is we just created the action type, which is literally, in fact, nothing. Okay, it's just to avoid future errors, you know, because, and another benefit is when you look at the action type, you understand your whole application, you know, what sort of actions are being dispatched, you know, all that stuff. Okay, so we're going to what we're going to do here is what we did in our app.js. As you can see, this when component did mount, we run this code, right? This is how we get the snapshot from the Firebase, right? So that is what we need to do here. So get nodes. So how it's going to get node? It will return the dispatch. Return and dispatch. This dispatch function you can use in your entire application. Okay, many times as you need, because in the index.js we will be wrapping the entire application but with the provided tag, right? So we get to use this dispatch method. So what happens is every time you have the action and you want that to reach to the reducer, because this is the reducer is how the new store is created. Whatever is written from the reducer is written as a state. Okay, so when you dispatch, when you want to send something out from action creators to the reducer, the only way to communicate is using this dispatch. Okay, so what we're going to dispatch is we're going to dispatch. Let's return this arrow function. Use this arrow function, and we're going to dispatch this method that we have here, like this code, so that we can get the data from the Firebase, right? So first thing we need to import the Firebase database. Import database from Firebase. So once you have the database, what are you going to do? When we dispatch, the very first thing we dispatch is this code that will get all the nodes. Okay, so this code database on, so on value, we get the snapshot, which will, using the return arrow function, dispatch again. What are you going to dispatch now? We dispatch an object. Now this object will dispatch the type and payload to the reducer. Okay, so now we are in the familiar territory, right? This is what I covered in that section I was talking about in the Redux introduction. So every time we dispatch something from the action creator to the reducer. Now in this case, what are we dispatching? Because if we don't give any data to the reducer, what they will do? What do? They have nothing to do, right? So that's why we get the database, all the snapshots from the database, then we dispatch the type and payload. And as a payload, we will send all the nodes that we get from there, right? So the type will be get nodes, okay, and then payload will be short.val. Okay, so this is exactly the same code we written here. To get all the snapshot, this is what we do. On value snapshot return and get this and set the state. But instead here in action creator, what we did is we dispatched another object which contains this plain string get nodes, which is the type, and then the payload, the information it carries is in the payload, which is the snapshot.val. Okay, so this will be sent to the reducer. Okay, so it makes sense, right? First we create action types, then we create action creators, which is this one, very first action creator, which returns type and payload, and then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create reducer. All right, so I think we should do that in the next video. Okay, so all this is happening so that we can create a global Redux store. Okay, so that is the workflow. First action type, and then action creators, and action creators will return the type and payload, and this will be processed in the reducer, and that will reach to the global store. Okay, that's coming. All right, so I will see you in the next video. Thank you.